Hey, Ranch Jason. Welcome to another Thunder Road Vendetta unboxing. This is for the Impassable Crane. Now, I did a previous video, link in the description, if you'd like to jump back and check out, where I actually went over the Impassable Crane. This is 3D terrain created by this Etsy creator, which is Adrena Creative. Now, I said in the wrong video, I want to make that correction. I was saying Adrena, so I was reading it wrong, but it's just going to be Adrena, like adrenaline. This is probably Adrena. It's a little syringe there. Now that I actually look at it, I'm like, duh, that makes sense. So I just want to throw this creator's been really awesome chit-chatting with and stuff. So yeah, so this is the box. I didn't actually see the box when I ordered the original set, or I would have ordered it at the same time. So I was like, dude, that's awesome. You get a full thing to put all this stuff in. So the Impassable Crane is just a bunch of 3D terrain stuff built, and this box lets you store all of this person's order. So this is really cool in here. So I have everything kind of tossed in here right now. We have the little baggie. We'll set that off to the side. There's a couple of notes in here I want to mention, though. Is first of all, right off the bat, two things I want to mention. Is one, after we look through this stuff, we also can go over some official abandoned terrain rules. So abandoned terrain are one of the other little sets of things you can buy. If you don't want just the terrain, you can buy a couple different pieces at once if you don't want to go all in. It includes this airplane and some of the other different things. And there was actually rules for them that I missed when I got sent the link for them. I didn't realize there was two links next to each other. So yeah, we'll go over that a little bit after this video. So yeah, if you want to check that out, either hang in there or just go ahead and jump forward a little bit. You'll see it pop up. The second that I want to mention is, this is right from his Etsy page. After I ordered this, he got around to creating a new extra component piece in here and some clips. This piece right here is meant to hold the airplane, the sandworm, and a couple of the other tiles. And then the clips is to kind of hold these pieces together so they don't slosh around as much. And then they shouldn't too much, but there's a little bit of give. So yeah, leave some room for the flops to the back. Again, I ordered this, and then this was created afterwards. So if you order any new ones, you'll actually have this cool insert in there to just help hold all that stuff in place a little bit nicer. Otherwise, I have it in here. This isn't bad. They're going to move around a bunch. This box is meant to be sitting like this. It's not meant to be, even after you did everything with or without this piece, it's not meant to be flipped upside down or picked up on its side. It's meant to lay 100% flat like this the entire time. There's no covers on stuff, so as long as you're being careful, it should be fine. But having extra pieces in there to help hold some of this is never a bad thing. Just wanted to bring that up. All right, so let's look at what we actually have in here. So on this, let me see if I can rotate my box a little bit. So on this big open area where that would be, I have the big airplane, I have the sandworm, I have my exit tiles in there, along with, I have the long bridge, which they do have another spot they say can go, but it didn't seem to really fit in there for me very well, so I set it there. And I have the exit sign right here. I'm going to go ahead and pop all of this stuff out for the moment. We're just going to set it down over here just so we can look at some of these other trays a little bit better, just so they're not in the way. So then we have the two big Impassable train pieces, which do come apart like that, of course. And they kind of work to sort of hold all that stuff in there a little bit. Now, again, it's not meant to be flipped over. Then we have these other two sets of trays, which I'm just going to pull out, and we'll look at them without the box. And we'll just close up the box here for a moment. And we can look at this. So we have, it's actually 4 trays here. So there's these 2 top ones here. This one here is holding all of our tokens for our hazards. Now, I'm not trying to be mean or nitpicky. This is 3D printing, so I don't know if this was intentional or not. But in this side, it's really hard to see on my camera. Let's see if I can zoom down a little bit, because he's black on black, of course. But there's actually kind of angles in here, so I don't know if that was intentional, because it doesn't do it on the other side. So I'm just going to dump all those out. Yeah, the other sides are completely flat, and you can kind of see on there, if I can angle this just right, they're angled in there a little bit. So I don't know if that was intentional, so they stick up a little bit or not. But they all still fit in there just fine, so it's not a big, yeah, it's not a big flaw or anything. It just happens, you know. I can understand how this, you know, things work like that. So I can slide all these back in there. Now this holds all 30 that would have came in the pack. Yeah, so you can just grab this tile out, have this sitting off to the side, which I really love that as a feature myself. I like anything like where I may have to like add or subtract components. To just be able to pick this up, like I can set my train aside. I can like have these sitting aside. I can pull at each piece, kind of slide the tray up, but I can have this ready to go if I need it. So that's cool. This one here just has all the rest of the little gizmos and gadgets, the MPs, the mines, the oil switch, the goo spots, all just kind of dumped in there. I don't know if there's really a great solution for this because they're all so many little tiny pieces. I think the other option would be is if you wanted to, you could, and maybe I actually have these backwards, is maybe what you're supposed to do is put these in there, and that way. Let's try that quick. I'm going to do a quick pause. Well, what do you know? This actually makes a lot more sense to do it this way. The one with the small components, you put all the extra little tiny pieces in. So I put all the mines and stuff in this side. I got a nice little grip hold in here. And that's the one that has that little slotty pieces. So maybe that was designed that way to help slide some of this stuff out quicker. I put the oil switch and the goo on this side. I might go like rearrange them so they sit in there a little bit better. And I put the turrets in here. It's kind of nice because they have the little angular spot in there, so I can kind of actually sit in there. So another really cool feature about this is we have little spots right here and on this one. So when I set these up on here, and then yeah, this turned out really nicely as well. I have them actually turn them the other direction this time, but yeah, that works out very well indeed. Yeah, so when you put these on here in the middle, they have them little dividers in there. I should probably zoom up a little bit. Yeah, they have the little dividers on the side here. They're raised just up enough. Now, it's again not going to keep this from flipping around completely, but they keep them from sliding out. And that's why then you put your impassable terrain on here. And that helps keeping them from sliding around when they're in the box. And then right here, they have little extra spots so these parts go in there. So that helps keeps them from sliding too. Now, it doesn't look like there was any on the back side. But that's all right. You know, they still work very well. So do help kind of prevent everything from moving around too much. All right, so let's pop those off. Pop these back off. We have spots in here for all the rest of our trains. Our ramps go in here. They just, you know, slot together. They can slide right in there. Now you have all 6 ramps ready to go if you need them. You have all your different rocks in here. I just threw the extra, not the extra, but the water tower in there. This little spot on this side is where you're supposed to put the bridges. So they'll kind of slide in there. So if you want to use them, they're available. And then if we look at the other one, and then they do kind of like neat how they line up and they match together so you know which one goes where. Then this side is where I put all the junk terrain. You do have the actual cars you're going to have to stack, so either you could stack them just on top of each other, and maybe one thing, or you could add them on top of some of these other smaller ones. The terrain out is very easy. Like lots of these have pretty big spots. Something like these ramps, these other little ones, you might have to kind of grip in there a bit, but they do kind of flip out yet. Some of the bigger ones. Yeah, but they fit in there very nicely. I think I just got this one stuck in there. I don't think it'll actually come out nicely, except I think I pinched it in there, put it in at a weird angle. So I think that one's 100% on me. But yeah, we'll take a look at that. I don't know why that one's stuck in there. I'm not going to keep trying to pull it out right now. Same thing with the rocks. They come out a little bit harder sometimes to grip, but if you can kind of pick up on one side, they pop out. Again, they're not going to pop out super, like, not going to fall out. Maybe a little bit harder to grip sometimes, like rocks don't have really easy grip points. But still not a big issue. Now, you can mix and match these however you want, except for the big ones, but we have 2 spots for the large ones, 2 spots there, so you could put some junk in this one, some there. It's not that big of a deal. You could lay something like, the only problem with laying these in these middle spots is that's where your big pieces go. So you kind of just have to kind of maybe play around where they're going to fit. Yeah, definitely cool. So that's how all that works together. So that is really neat. Oops, knocked my crane over there. Yeah, it's really nice. It all starts in one of the boxes. This box is not, I should actually see how big it is compared to the actual Thunder Road Vendetta maximum chrome box. We'll grab that in a sec, and then we're going to look at the rules. So I'm going to pull out the pieces to look at the new components. Alright, so here's our big maximum chrome box, which currently holds all the game. And then if we grab the big terrain box and we set it on top, so it is a little bit longer. That way, I mean, so you can probably set the maximum chrome on top. This should definitely be a sturdy enough box to hold it. But I'm gonna start this on top just because this maximum chrome box is pretty heavy. But if we look at left to right though, it is pretty much the same. Now there's not a whole lot you can do. There's this extra like what, inch or so. There's not much you could have really done to do that, because it's like, to get it the same size as this box, you'd either have to shrink it up and up everything, but I don't know what you really have for a tray unless you start laying all the tiles and stuff in flat spots rather than having them on them extra trays. That would have been the only thing, is you would have had to like almost weigh all your tokens and stuff instead of being a full thing. They would have had to have been laying down and maybe just like one little layer higher or something. But I don't know, it works out just good enough. It's gonna be fine. But definitely cool there. All right, so let's look at some of these rules for the new stuff that we had that we missed last time. We're gonna drop this down here so we can see. We have this little toxic goo shanty. So this is one of the extra terrain tiles. You can use this as a junk tile, but we have some special rules we can use. These are unofficial abandoned terrain rules. Abandoned terrain may be placed in any impassable terrain space during setup or when a new tile is revealed. Experiment with different combinations of abandoned terrain and the original impassable terrain to find your perfect mud chaos. Some have additional rules. So we have the toxic goo shanty. When placed on the board, roll the direction guide ×3 and place each toxic goo tile next to the shanty. Toxic goo stops vehicle movements. So that's what the little green stuff was. I thought it was just to like add slime to the board, like toxic spots to the board, but so it actually drops them out, like it's spilling out onto the board. Or the bubbling toxic goo shanty. When a vehicle enters a space adjacent to the toxic goo shanty, roll the direction guides. If a toxic goo lands on the vehicle, it stops and loses the rest of its move. Toxic goo remains on the board for the rest of the game. So either you can have it only when it happens, when someone rolls in and there's a chance, or you can have the game start out, it's spilling and it's already a hazard on the board. So kind of a fun little extra mechanic. Again, you could use these wherever you want to have that just be like, oh, goo bubbled up somewhere. Alright, then we have the container ramps. This is one I was having trouble getting out of the box, and it's just because they're arrowed, and both of these have little extra notches that's a little bit farther past that edge of the arrow part. So just watching or putting them in the trays, that'd be the only thing. But yeah, these are kind of neat. They look like ramps because they are. They are container ramps. Vehicles are eliminated upon entering the front or side. Unlike normal ramps, container ramps can be entered from any angle. When exiting the ramp, the vehicle will travel a specified direction depending on the angle left or right, and roll the stunt guide to move that many spaces. So the idea is your car, it comes up here, so if they enter from this side or this side, is they're hitting the ramp and they're going to go off that direction, and this one will shoot them off that direction. So instead of being a straight ramp, you get a ramp that angles a different direction. So just kind of a little extra fun thing. You can swap these in for a different ramp if you want, just to add a little chaos to the game. You know, obviously you wouldn't want to have these pop off right into the side of a mountain, because you could make them even harder to, like, I really have to avoid this. But at that point, you may as well just probably put a impassable crane there and just have them run straight into it. So there's that. Alright, up next we have the good old water tower. It just does come off, and I noticed one thing, you could have attached the bridge to it, which I did like that. But the water tower is, if a vehicle wrecks into the water tower, it is eliminated. The next roll the direction guide to determine where the water tank collapses. Any vehicle caught underneath is eliminated. Now becomes impassable terrain. So that's kind of neat. So this is impassable terrain. Somebody runs into it, they're gonna of course crash. But then now this falls off, and it might fall here, 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 here. It can fall in any direction, and it falls off to the side. Noticing now you can drop it that way or turn it sideways or however you want. But now it adds another impassable terrain to the board. That's a really fun idea too, right? Just because now you have extra hazards that can slowly appear on the game board. So that's definitely a fun little extra mechanic. Alright, our last little junk space building is the gas station. So we got a little shacked up gas station here, a little gas pump. We got some extra pumps out, arcade machines out back. That's pretty fun. And look at some of these back closely, I guess. Alright, gas station. The vehicle wrecks in the gas station. It blows up. Eliminating the vehicle, the gas station remains on fire for the rest of the game. Any vehicle that enters an adjacent space will catch on fire. And then they show actually taking one of the fire rings, and you can set it in there so now you know that this is on fire. It's kind of neat that it sort of sits in there very nicely. But yeah, again, just like the Ghoul stop cars, the water tower at impassable terrain, this will actually set more guys on fire. And in fact, there's only one of each, except for the containers, which is only two. It doesn't mess with the game too much, but it adds just that extra little bit. Now you could add all 5 of these things in here and go a full game, and you're only going to come across one at a time. So you're not going to like, oh, why are there 14 gas stations on the road? So that's kind of cool there. Then the last thing we have is our airplane. Now, I did have in the last video, I did not know where this little number 4 sign went. It goes right here into the airplane. That's just because the abandoned wreck ramp has special rules. For use with the bunker road tile, a vehicle may enter a wreck if it has at least 4 movement remaining after entering and immediately roll a stunt guy. On a 1 to 2, you stall up at the top. 3 or 4 successfully jump. So basically, if you don't get enough speed, now it's just showing it coming out of the top. It says if you come up this way, it says if you have 4, you can get through it. But if you're coming out of the top here, it's showing on here. You have to have 4 to enter it. And then you roll. If you get a 1 or 2 only, though, you're going to stall at the top. So basically, you can just move your car from there and set it right on the edge. It's just really neat. I'll grab the cars out in a second. Look at that. Otherwise, you can stop. Otherwise, you can land on 3 or 4 popping out of the front. So it's whether you get 1 to 2 on the top or you get 3 or 4 spaces. Slamming inside the wreck. A vehicle enters the wreckage, or another vehicle occupies the opening space. Roll the slam die in the direction. Follow the slam rules as normal. Direction die results. Front arc. The vehicle safely lands in front of the wreck. Rear arc vehicle slams into the abandoned wreck is eliminated. So that's kind of neat too. So if like your cars are flying through, and your car stalls here, and another car comes up behind it, they'll slam into it and they'll push it off. But if you're in the backside, they're gonna just ram into it and wreck. So that's actually an extra little fun little thing there. Let me grab that tile quick to see what the tile looks like. Alright, so it mentions it uses the bunker tile, which is Chapter 3B. So it's part of the base game, which is really good. So you don't have to own one of the expansions. Some of the other stuff, they recommend the expansions for, like the fire one and that. But you can see we have the impassable terrain piece on there. already. So that's what's really cool, is because it's not just this goes anywhere on the board. It actually lines up with this particular impassable piece of terrain. So even if you don't want to use the jump rules, which is just cool because it adds, otherwise you're just like, oh, our guys come here, they have to go all the way around. Here you can add that extra potential option there, so that's really fun. Yeah, but then it shows our vehicles coming up. You can kind of have them in there. So you can, you know, go ahead and stop on that spot. It's big enough for the big vehicle. If we go to the front side, it's big enough to fit that as well. And you can pull them right back out. And then there is enough stuff. I know it's really hard to ever see stuff in my camera. There's stuff in there. Some like little like boxes and stuff, which I think will help prevent your car from maybe getting lost. And you might want to watch out the small one because you might be able to lodge it in there. Just don't pick it up and slam it in there. But yeah, that's really cool there. That actually fits that particular tile. That's also a great little extra thing of detail there. And as long as we're looking at that, if we look at our ramps here, so just as an example, like obviously, you wouldn't want to have it jump into there, but yeah, so the guy can come up, ramp off the top, that's cool, and sit on the edge of the ramp as well. That is what we have for our Thunder Road Vendetta Impassable Crane Box and our rule upgrades. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you really think this stuff is cool and something you're interested, check out the Etsy creator, Adrena Creatives. Yeah, check out their site, their all their Etsy, their stuff like that. You have some other stuff for some other games as well. See you guys later. Bye.